Hey, this is Will. Just got home. I'm not currently in Thailand right now, but as I was driving home, I was thinking of all the scams and things that the first time people to Thailand need to be aware of. These are like the most common scams. Um, like any city, you have good people and bad people. Um, I don't know of any country that can say that everybody's good. The problem with the scams I'm going to talk about, and the first one's going to be tuk tuks, is that nobody seems to stop the scams. If you understand what I'm saying, it's not like it happens one time and then it's gone. It's like they're there outside whatever the pavilion is or whatever the activity is, and the police see them, the officials see them, but nobody stops them. So, with that said, I'm going to talk about tuk tuks. Now, should you go to Bangkok or Pattaya or any of these cities, they'll have tuk tuks. They are a form of travel. It is basically a three-wheeled motorcycle, or other people call it a golf cart on steroids. I prefer to say it looks like a three-wheeled motorcycle, like a scooter. But it's got a bed on it that you sit in the back. Now, first of all, anyone who's ever been around any sort of cars or motorcycles, two wheels are great, four wheels are great, three wheels are not good because of turns and whatnot. The problem with tuk-tuks are they're top heavy. And if you get a bunch of Europeans or Americans, Australians, we are all bigger. Okay, we're bigger people, and we're just adding to that top weight of that vehicle. Now, I've seen actually two tuk-tuks get in accidents where they've rolled. It's something that could be avoided, I'm sure, but the drivers of the tuk-tuks drive real fast. So I'm just saying, first of all, don't get in them if you're worried about your safety. This scam I'm talking about is that in Thailand, tuk-tuks are not metered, which means they don't have the box on them that says it's $1 for 1 mile, $1 for 1 mile. They choose the price and tell you what it is up front for the distance you want to travel. The problem is, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll take you clear around and say, well, you know, we had to make a detour, and I know of a shop. You can get gold there for almost free. Or I know a shop that sells men's clothes. You look like you could use a new suit. They try to tempt you the whole time. And sorry about that. I had a phone call I had to take. Getting back to the tuk-tuks. The main thing you need to do is whenever you take a tuk-tuk, agree to the price before you get in. And tell them, hey, I've been here before. I know Bangkok. I know this city or that city. I know where I'm going. Now, granted, there may be a language barrier. I have taken tuk-tuks, but I've made sure that I had someone with me that was Thai. In Bangkok and other cities in Thailand, you're going to find this out real fast. There's the Thai price. There is the foreigner's price who actually lives in the city. That means that they've seen you before and they know you're not a short-time person. There's that price. And then there's a price for the person that, just got off the airplane, walking around with their eyes bugged out like, wow, this is crazy. There's three different prices. Now, whenever I deal with the tuk-tuk drivers, like I said, I don't even approach them. They'll quite often come up to me, and I just go like this to my friends, and my friends just start telling them, hey, this is where it is. We live in the city. We know what we're doing. Don't give us any BS. The reason being is that these guys they're hard up for money. I mean, you might be the only person that actually rides in that tuk-tuk that day. I have seen, like I said, tuk-tuks have accidents and stuff. They would be among my last mode of travel if I have actually a choice. First would be the train, then the taxis, maybe a bus. Given the time of day and if it's a rush hour or whatever, buses you want to stay away from because they do not move. But I might take a bus. Then there would be the tuk-tuks or the mopeds. Now, being so far down on that list is because I've talked to people that have been living in the city for a while, for years actually, and you'll find that the people who actually live in the city, they also stay away from the tuk-tuks. Tuk-tuks are a tourist trap. It's kind of like a staple. Everybody that goes there wants to get their picture taken and ride one time in a tuk-tuk. They really are a nasty, dirty, filthy way to travel. There's trucks that pull up beside you. You're in this tuk-tuk and there's no windows, there's no walls, there's nothing. There might be a bar separating you from falling, out of the vehicle. But the exhaust from these trucks pull up and it's blowing right in your face. It is not a nice way to travel. The scams involve any sort of monument or tourist area. They always have a congregation of these guys lined up. Whatever you do, don't approach them. Don't approach the second one or the third one or the fourth one thinking you're going to get a better deal. What you'll end up doing is you're going to end up starting a fight between these guys, because the way they're lined up is the way that the guy who does all the talking, who might have limited knowledge of English, he's the one doing all the talking. He's the promoter. He gets a little kickback for every tuk-tuk he gets, to drive away with people inside. So don't try to skirt the whole thing and go, I'm going to work out a deal. Don't. Now, if you see a tuk-tuk by itself, yeah, you can approach them, talk to them, say whatever. But if there's a line of them, don't try to save a couple of baht or a couple of dollars. It's not worth the hassle. When they line up outside these venues, these events, especially like with the palaces and some of the temples, you'll have, the Thai people will know this, but the foreigners don't. You have a Thai entrance where you are a Thai person, you're born there, you're raised there, you go through this one door or entrance into this building or temple, and no foreigners allowed to go through there. Foreigners have to go 100 meters, 50 meters down the road to another door, because that door you have to pay. Thai people get into some of these events or some of these buildings, these temples, they get in for free because they're Thai. You are a tourist, you have to go down and you have to pay money. So there's, a booth where somebody takes your money and gives you the ticket and the whole whatnot. If you're just, let's say you're two foreigners, man and woman, man and man, female and female, it doesn't matter. You walk up to the entrance for the Thai people. The guards there probably won't know that much English. They'll just say, nope, can't come in. Well, then you're like, well, we wanted to go see this. It's on the map. It's on our list of things to do. About that time, a man will approach you and say, hey, this one is closed. This temple's closed all day. They're doing renovation or, they're doing a ceremony. It's closed. But you're lucky because I have guys over here in these tuk-tuks. They will take you to another temple. It is better than this one. It's so much better than this, and it's a free temple. You're like, well, okay, we want to see a temple. We might as well go for the little ride, and can't be too far. And they'll say, it's just around the corner. It's just around the corner. Too far to walk, but it's just around the corner. So you agree to a price and you tell him, okay, I'll pay this. And he ushers you over to the tuk-tuk. Now, the tuk-tuk driver from that point gets you out of there, drives you down the road, and says, gold, gold, gold. And you don't know what he's talking about. And you're like, what do you mean gold? He stops at a shop and starts pointing towards the shop. He wants you to go into the shop and buy some gold. Now, what it is if you do fall for this, you walk in there and you do buy something, let's say, which I strongly suggest you do not buy. You buy something, the driver gets a kickback. The guy back there at the temple that you wanted to go see that they said was closed, that really isn't, he'll get a kickback. So it's this little game of, I'm going to take you to as many shops and get money out of you before I take you to another temple, which is free all the time to everybody, and it's going to be 9 times out of 10 half the size of the big one you wanted to see. Like I said, I personally stay away from tuk-tuks because I had a friend of mine about 5-6 years ago. Was in a city that he was unfamiliar with, so late at night he's like, I'll just take a tuk-tuk. Well, he took the tuk-tuk and it went completely in the opposite direction of where he wanted to go. And then something happened where he was asking this driver, he's like, wait a minute, all the city lights are behind us and my hotel is down that way. Well, the tuk-tuk driver says, all right, I'm done talking to you. Done talking to you. I don't want to talk. Give me my money. Tuk-tuk driver stops. My friend just pays him, just says, I don't want to deal with it. He takes off. Okay, now, he's out in the middle of nowhere. He's got nowhere to get back, so he's pretty much stranded. But lo and behold, there is a tuk-tuk coming the opposite way, coming towards him. He gets, waves the guy down. Tuk-tuk driver says, oh, I'm off the clock. I'm going home. I'm tired. I don't want to work. And, if I take you, you have to pay me this much money. And it's twice as much as the guy that you just got done being dumped off in the middle of nowhere. So you're like, I got to get out of here. So my friend, he says, I got to get out of here. I got to get to the hotel. I'm tired. So he pays this guy ahead of time. About 400 yards into the drive back, my friend looks down and he sees a rip in the cushion. And he's like, wait a minute. Then he looks up and he sees the same design of the tuk-tuk that drove him out to the point and dumped him off. And he realizes, I'm in the same tuk-tuk, just different driver. These guys weren't even smart enough to bring a second tuk-tuk. It was a game that they were playing where they take you out to the end of town, they dream up some argument, get an argument, make you get out, make them give you something. Then that guy drives off, the other guy comes in. It's dark. They think you won't notice. But my friend, like I said, he looked down and saw this rip in the cushion. He goes, wait a minute, I just saw that. So the point being is that there's good people and bad people. I would just strongly suggest stay away from tuk-tuk drivers, just in general. If you're in Bangkok or one of the bigger cities and you don't have that far to go and it's daylight is the key word, go ahead and take your tuk-tuk ride one time, get it over with, take all the pictures you want. Like I said, stay away from the tuk-tuk drivers. They tend to create more problems for you, and just be careful. And for God's sakes, whatever you do, don't ever leave anything in a tuk-tuk. You'll never see it again. The driver will go 50 yards down the road, hand it off to somebody else, and then you'll catch up to that driver and say, where's my stuff? The driver says, oh, must have fell out, sorry. There's so many games when it comes to tuk-tuks. Just trust me, stay away from them if you can. And when you do get to Bangkok, or Thailand, remember, not everybody's going to be ripping you off. It's just when you get in the tourist areas, be wary, be looking around, make sure you don't fall for I got another temple over here and it's free. That's all BS. Go online. Check out the place before you want to go. They'll have the hours. Some places actually will close around noon to have lunch. So that's another time that the tuk-tuk drivers are actually grabbing people from the temples and saying, hey, there's another place over here. Just use your head. That's the only thing to say. Just be smart. Don't do anything there that you wouldn't do at home. Okay? Take care. Thanks a lot.